welcome to episode 143 probably of the Cherryheart podcast. I'm Sandra and this is a crafty podcast where I talk about crochet, knitting and sewing. Welcome to my craft room. You can find the show notes for this podcast below this video here, and they'll be in the down bar below. You can also find my patterns and my tutorials on my website, which is cherryheart.co.uk. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for joining me again. If you are a returning viewer, nice to see you back again. And if you are new, I hope you enjoy what you see. If you would like to support this podcast at any point, you can do that by giving me a thumbs up, leaving a comment below. If you'd like to see more, you could subscribe to my channel, and if you want to get a notification when I post a new video, if you just ding the bell, that will do that for you. I hope you're all well. I've been to Iceland since I last spoke to you, so that was very exciting. So it feels like I've been away for a while, but yeah, loved our trip to Iceland, and as a result I have lots of incoming goodies to show you, so that's fun. I'll chat about that later. I'm also hoping to get a little vloggy video up of my trip there, which may or may not be of interest to you guys, to be honest. I know only a few people like that kind of vlog, so but I kind of want to do it just for my own, you know, my own memories, my own video to look back on, so I'll put that together at some point. But in the meantime, I have got up my Hexie tutorial videos. So I'm making this blanket, which I think it might now blow out because it's quite white. Yeah, let's adjust. There we go. So here's my little mini Hexie flowers. That's what I've got so far. So hard to show, as these things always are. So this is based on the idea of English paper piecing quilts. So I think it's, someone told me what it was just the other day actually on my Hexie tutorial. I think it's called Granny's Garden Quilt or something. You'll know what I mean, I'm sure, if you're a quilter. But yeah, it's sort of doing these little, making these little flowers and then putting them on the background. It's very much a quilting thing, which I've always wanted to make one, and I'm not sure I'll manage it. So I thought maybe I could crochet a version and I might be able to manage that. Anyway, so that's what I'm making. So people were asking me what pattern I was using for the hexagons and how I was making the flowers. So I have now finally done a tutorial for that, a video tutorial. I had a little photo tutorial on my website, which I was directing people to, but I know most people prefer video tutorials now, and it kind of is a bit easier, isn't it, to see what's going on. So yeah, so I've made, oh my god, there you go, adjust. I've made some little hexies to show how I was doing that, and those two videos, I'll pop them here, are up now. I'll link to them below as well. So the first one I show you just how to make the little hexagons, and then in the second one I'll show you how to join them together to make a flower, and also how I'm then joining the flowers onto the background for the quilt. It still keeps blowing that out, doesn't it? Adjust. Adjust. It's not adjusting. Yes, so I'm glad to get that done, and it seems like it's answering the questions people were having, so that's good. But in the meantime, I have been manufacturing myself. I've got my little, this is my little basket I work from when I'm working on this project, which I quite like to have just out and about to see. It's quite nice. But I'm working on my collection of flowers. So I make a load of flowers first. And yeah, then I sort of work on the white hexagons, joining them together for the background. But I've got a few more combinations I want to put together. So I kind of pair yarns up and work my way through those combinations, and then I need to wind up some of these minis to make some more before I can make any more. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I'm obviously drawn to certain colours more than others, so it's easier for me to get minis in some colours than it is for others. Green is a sort of, you know, a gap for me. Like I've got lots of bluey, greeny, sagey, greeny, aqua-y type colours, but I haven't got much green. I've got a little, well, you can see here, I've got a little bit of this kind of slightly more leafy green, but then very much sort of in the grassy green area, and blue as well. I've got some blue, but I tend to go for aqua blue rather than like a kind of sky blue. So that sort of, you know, blue I've got a gap with as well. So yeah, so I have to see what I've got to fill those holes. Because I'm trying to sort of keep to a, well, as you can see, I'm trying to keep to a kind of rainbow, so I've got an even, roughly even amount of each colour. The easiest one for me is pink. I've got tons of pink. I've got pale pinks, I've got darker pinks, I've got warmer, peachier pinks, I've got cooler, purplier pinks. Yeah, so that's quite a rich area for me, but you know, not so much. The other colours aren't always so easy to fill. But yeah, working on filling out my rainbow, and then I will lay out those and add them to my main bit here. I'm not quite sure how big this is going to go. Not too big, I'm thinking, just because, well, it can feel a bit never-ending, can't it? Maybe I'll just see how it goes. No commitments on size at this stage. Okay, so next up is a sewing project. So this is my summer sampler from Sarah of Pretty Fabrics and Trims. There we go, and it's from her Sew a Little Happiness Every Day series. This was a present that I got for Christmas, and I have started working on it. I've still got my hoop on it, so I don't know how well you can see what's going on there. So I'm having to tilt it away from the window just so it doesn't blow out. Yeah, so I've got my summer on, and I'm sort of starting from the top and working down. And I've got the flowers to finish on this little vase here, and the rest of the little life boy to finish, and then I can move on to this bowl of fruit or something here. I'm just sitting here thinking, what can I tell you about this? I don't know. I'm quite enjoying it. I like that it's sort of a different thing from crochet to knitting, and I like because all the instructions of what to do, you know, this colour here and everything is all laid out so you can follow it exactly. So I've just done that. I've just followed Sarah's instructions. I haven't bothered to sort of try and think about it or change anything up. I'm quite happy with how that looks. I'm quite happy to have a project where I just follow along. Moving on from those works in progress, I've got a finished object to show you now, and it's a knitted one this time. So these are just a very quick and easy mitt project that I made. I partially cast these on because we were going to Iceland and I wanted something nice and small and compact that I could take on the plane, and just so I had something to take away with me. I didn't want to take all my scrap yarns for the hexagon flower, and I hadn't started my, I didn't want to take my stitching, but I just wanted something that was nice and quick and easy to pick up, so this fit the bill. But also I wanted something for this yarn that I could just get straight on with because I didn't want to wait before I cast something on. So this yarn is very special for me. So this is my sun-dried succulents yarn, and this is a Lay Family yarn. So Kelly and Nick very kindly invited me to go up and have a go at yarn dyeing with them and to come up with a colourway of my own. And this is the colourway I came up with, which we called Sunkissed Succulents. It was on her website as a custom order, or a pre-order, sorry. But I think it sold out last time I looked, so I spoke about it last time, so you would have had a chance to get your yarn then, hopefully. But yeah, I'm not sure on that one whether there'll be any more. It's sort of one of those one-off things. So this is the 4-ply yarn, and I've also held it together with the mohair version, the floof, as Kelly calls her mohair. So yeah, I was very happy to just quickly get into that and just see it knit up, because I love how it looks knit up. I have got, I made a, oh, I forgot to show you this. I made a little hexie flower using it as well. Ooh. So there it is on these ones, on these petals. That looks really cute. And I also made another crochet square just to see how it looked in crochet, because I have got yarn left over and I'd like to use that in the crochet project. I was planning a bigger project, but yeah, I'm not quite sure if that will work out now. But yes, I've got enough left that I could do another project with this, and I'd like to do something crochet with it this time. But yes, so the pattern for these doesn't really exist, but it's what I often do when I just make my mitts, which is basically I cast on. For this I cast on 46 on a, do I know what needle? I'm not sure I do. I'll pop it here. Whatever needle, because I had held together, maybe a 4, might have been a 4mm needle. Anyway, cast on 46, and then I do some kind of ribbing, sometimes just 1x1 ribbing, sometimes I do a bit of moss stitch or something, sometimes 2x2 ribbing. This time I've got a little broken rib going on there. And then I normally decrease down a little bit, and then I will decrease slightly sort of along this wrist area here, just to sort of get a nice fit. And then I think by the time I got up here I had like 40 stitches, maybe less actually, might have gone down to 38 or something. And then I just do a slightly, so here I've got, oh dear, blurring out, maybe 8 or 10 rows of ribbing, and then here I do sort of maybe 5 or 6, just so, honestly the reason I do that is just so I can see which way to put them on. So I like them to be a bit wider at the bottom so they go down my arm, and then if I've got a smaller bit of ribbing I can see where the top is. And then I generally just knit plain down the whole mitt. Sometimes I do garter stitch. I have done knit them flat, done garter stitch and join them in the round. Quite often I just do stocking stitch, but yeah, really loving how they are looking. Yeah, if I told you everything, yarn, needle, pattern, non-pattern. So it's what I think of this as my kind of vanilla mitts pattern. So those are nice. And I'm bordering on not needing them now. So I was kind of hesitant about casting on a mitts pattern, but you know, I live in the UK, so can't say they've been completely unneeded, but it is starting to warm up again a bit now, so who knows, maybe I won't need them again until later this year, or maybe I will. But squidgy and soft and gorgeous, very happy with those. So normally about this time I would talk about my patterns in progress, which I do have a pattern in progress, which is my Sweetly Dreaming blanket, and the pattern is ready to go, which you can't really see a lot from this picture, but this will be the pattern. Big one as usual. Yeah, I'll put a picture in so you can see it. So the blanket is ready, the pattern is ready to go, but I just haven't quite got it launched and up yet. I need to sort of get it uploaded onto the sites and fill in all the information and stuff. So I'm hoping to do that end of this week or early next week. So hopefully it'll you know, by the time you're watching this, it will be out very, very soon if it's not quite out yet. But I'm going to do a separate video and chat about it all and sort of show you all the pictures. I managed to get some footage which I need to put together, so I'm ready, but I'm not quite ready. So yeah, so I know some of you are waiting for this, so I'm sorry I've dragged my heels a bit at the end, but I had to do some reworking of the border and kind of getting footage is difficult. Again, I was hoping to get some outside nice garden footage, but it's been kind of horrible again, and now like this week it's a little bit nicer, but the yeah, it's difficult. My garden's not much to see, so I don't know quite how I'd manage that, so I might have to live without that for now. But anyway, suffice to say is I will talk about this properly in another video that will come soon. Okay, so yeah, it's coming, sorry, and it's coming. To finish this time then, I'm going to talk about my incoming goodies and my plans for those incoming goodies. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we went to Iceland a couple of weeks ago, which is a place I've been wanting to go to for quite a long time. I just think it looks like the most amazing, dramatic, wonderful landscape, and yeah, just really appealed to me as a place to go and see. And also my daughter's doing geology at university, so there's sort of all the volcanic activity that goes on there, all the fault lines and all of that kind of, there's lots of features of geological interest, so we both were really keen to go to that part of the world. And of course, when you go to Iceland, you have to buy some yarn, don't you? I mean, when we go on holiday anywhere, we kind of, well, I don't know about you, but I like to have a look in the yarn shops and see what there is, but I particularly wanted to get something from Iceland because, you know, it's the home of gorgeous Icelandic, you know, colourwork jumpers and gorgeous Icelandic wool. I had to get something. So, what did I get? Let me show you. So the first place I went to was this shop here, which is, I don't know if you can see that, the Hand Knitting Association of Iceland. There it is in Icelandic, which I'm not even going to begin to try to pronounce. Yeah, so I had to get, you may guess, some Lettilopi yarn. Or Lettilopi, is it? How would you say it? How do you say it? They had this in quite a few places in Iceland, as you can imagine. It was interesting because we were in Reykjavik and we had a quick look on the first day, and some of the, when I was doing a Google search to find the yarn shops, you'd go to the yarn shop and then it would turn out it actually meant like the hand knitted, like a knitting shop in the sense of it had all the knitted jumpers, the beautiful Icelandic jumpers, which are gorgeous and I was very tempted by, but you know, I want to knit my own basically. So yeah, so we'd go and I'd look around the knitted things, go, oh, they haven't actually got yarn here. So this was a place where they did actually have yarn. So my plan, or my idea, was to make an Icelandic jumper, and I wanted it to be based on the colours that I'd seen in Iceland. So the sort of predominant colours that appealed to me and that seemed to sort of sum up what I was seeing while I was there. So we went in April, so it's before like the island had sort of greened up. So it's got like, well, let me show you the colours I've got. So this will be my background colour. So that's my main colour that the jumper will be in. And then I have this colour here. So this colour will represent, like I say, the island hadn't sort of greened up again yet. The snow's melted for the most part, not all the places, but in a lot of places the snow's melted, and it leaves behind this sort of goldeny, sort of almost parched out, bleached, straw, grassy, kind of yellowy blanket on a lot of the fields and sort of going up the mountains and everything. And it can look sort of golden in the sunlight and kind of quite bleached in another light. So this is my kind of, so this is one of the main colours I saw. Then I wanted this beautiful dark grey to represent just the dark sand, the dark rocks, you know, the mountains, that you'll have this at the bottom and then it will just go to this sort of dark volcanic larval rock. And it's because of the amount of volcanoes and the eruptions and how active Iceland is as a volcanic area, just this sort of really dark larval rock is everywhere. And we even went to like a black beach with completely black sand. It was just, oh, it was amazing. Anyway, so those are like kind of main colours that we saw. And then on top of that was the beautiful blue Icelandic sky. Now we did have some cloudy, overcast days, but quite often we had these beautiful blue days. So you'd sort of see the grass going up into a black mountain with this beautiful sky above. And then I've also got this deeper blue to kind of represent the ocean, beautiful Arctic Ocean in that area. And slightly also kind of the glacial colours of the water. I was tempted to go for a slightly more aqua-y colour to sort of really pick up that glacial blue. I'll put a picture in of what we saw, which is just gorgeous, but they didn't actually have that shade in stock at the shop I went to. And this was also just these three together. You know, we were driving along roads in Iceland and these would be the colours that I could see, and it just sort of sums up the colours that I saw on my trip to Iceland. So that's what I wanted to incorporate into my jumper. So let's put the main colour in, so you see. There we go. That's my Iceland colour palette for my Icelandic jumper. So my plan for the jumper, of course, is not simple. I can't just pick this yarn and then choose one of the myriad of patterns available in this yarn to actually knit my jumper with, can I? Of course not, because I have to be awkward. So what I had also seen before we went to Iceland was a jumper in Toast, the shop Toast, when we went to Cambridge, and they had it on a mannequin. And I'm gonna, well, actually I'll pop it in for you here. And I really liked it. So it's got a dark background. The colours are all different, as you can see. So I could have gone with my dark colour as the dark background, but I thought I'm more likely to wear something if it's a bit lighter, I think. So, and also I'm not sure how I feel about knitting with dark. Now I'm saying this. I didn't think of this at the time, but now I come to say it. Yes, I kind of always imagined it lighter. But that's the pattern I wanted to use, the pattern I saw in this Toast jumper. So then I had to work out how I could make that colourwork pattern work on another jumper pattern that would work with that yarn. So I have spent a few days faffing around with, like, you know, drawing out my little chart of how, you know, how to recreate that stitch pattern or that colour pattern, and then how to work it into a yoke with the kind of decreases I'd need for a yoke. And I'm not great at that kind of knitting maths kind of thing, so it kind of makes my head explode. I'm sure people that do actual proper knitting patterns could go, oh yeah, it's, you know, this is the stitch repeat you'd need, these are the decreases you'd need, bam bam bam, and they'd work it all out. But I kind of almost have to literally draw it out so I can see what I'm doing. So yeah, yeah, maths is not my strong area, so I visualise and I can't visualise maths very well. We'll see how I get on. I will show you progress. I have actually done a swatch, and I've done a swatch in the round. I haven't done swatch colour work though, which I suppose I should probably do. But, you know, I've actually bothered to do a swatch in the round, one thing at a time, eh? Because I made something recently and I was moaning about how swatches, I've never made a swatch that actually matches the gauge I get on my final garment. And I was saying that I'd done a swatch and it had actually matched the pattern perfectly for a start, which I quite often hit stitches, but I very rarely hit rows. And I managed to do a swatch that had hit stitches and rows, which I was saying I was pleased with. And then someone commented, quite rightly, that yes, but you've done your swatch flat. and you're knitting in the round, so it's never going to match, which is a very fair point. But on the other hand, I will still maintain that whenever I do a swatch, it never matches anyway. So I did bother to do this swatch in the round though, so thank you for whoever pointed that out. So that works out nicely for what gauge I want. And then I have just done my, sorry, I'm dropping things. I have just done my provisional cast on and knit my first round, so it doesn't look like much at the moment, obviously. So I've literally just got some waste yarn as the cream, and then I've just got my first round in my main colour, and now I can start working on my yoke and hope that all my maths works out correctly. So now I've shown you that, I shall look forward to dipping into my colours and making a start on colour work. Well, I say look forward to it, I have a very love-hate relationship with colour work. I love how it looks. I have this fantasy idea that knitting on it's going to be really fab and enjoyable, but actually the reality I find a little bit stressful and yeah, not very relaxing. I'm too, yeah, I haven't relaxed into that being able to do stranded knitting without stressing and worrying about if I'm doing it too tight or too loose, which is what often seems to happen. Anyway, I shall let you know, I shall keep you updated. So the next shop I went to was this shop, which I might have a go at pronouncing. There we are, Stock You're In. That's what I'm going for that. So this one's in Reykjavik as well, just slightly outside of the centre. And this had some gorgeous hand-dyed in Iceland yarn. So this is the name of the company, so it's Malband, MALBAND.IS for Iceland. So I picked up this colour because I was immediately drawn to it, and I picked up this colour because I was immediately drawn to it, and I also picked up this colour because I was immediately drawn to it, surprise surprise, and I love all of them together. But these are gorgeous. They're quite sort of cherry heart colours, like the blue. I've got these two with sage green in my logo, so these sort of, this yellow and pink combination with either a blue or a sage, I always feel is very, it's like my, what's the word, my homing, my colour homing beacon. And I was standing these in the shop, holding these three, thinking I don't know quite what I'd make with them, that's the thing. So do I just plump for one colour and get some more yarn and then I can make like a cardigan or a jumper, or do I try and make a shawl? What's my plan? What do I do? And then when I saw these three colours sitting here, it suddenly pinged into my head another pattern that I'd been drooling over and thinking I would like to make. And it was by Suzanne Summer, which is this. Now at the time when I was in Iceland, this wasn't out yet. So this is the Ginny cardigan. I've only got it in black and white, I'm afraid, but I'll put a picture of it in colour because you'll see why this made me think of it probably. Yeah, so I suddenly remembered this because she'd been posting pictures of it and saying, yeah, the pattern's coming soon, it'll be out soon, out in a few days. It had, when I was in the shop looking, I was like, oh, I need to see what yarns I need. And she's like, the pattern's out in a few days. I was like, no, I need to know now. So I thought, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a little bit mad and I'm just going to guess what I need and hope for the best. So that's what I've done. Now, this is actually, it's a, well, I would say it's a 4-ply yarn, but it's a very plump 4-ply, bordering on a sport. So 365 metres per 100 grams. I mean, that's pretty much a sport weight. Now, I think the pattern, if memory serves, is actually for DK yarn. Yeah, semi-solid DK weight yarn she used. So I'm a little off what I need to be, but like I say, it feels really plump, and the main pattern isn't it on 4mm needles, and I think this is going to be fine in 4mm. I haven't swatched yet, so I'm not sure. But it's actually a garter stitch and brioche, which is going to, you know, gives you quite a plumpy texture anyway. So I think this is going to be fine, so I'm not worried about that. I am a little bit concerned about my colours. So on the picture you'll see she's got a pink stripe, a yellowy stripe, and then what I thought was the same colour pink in the background of the in-between ones, but it's not. It's actually a different colour pink. So she's actually got 4 colours and I've only got 3. So slightly apprehensive there, but we'll have to see how it goes. But anyway, once I had made that decision that that's what I was going to do with this yarn and I was going to plump for it, I knew I would need more. So I went for the blue as my background colour. I think she's actually used grey. My original idea was to knit that cardigan and maybe have the grey, but maybe turn down the other colours a bit and just have it a little bit more neutral. But once I saw these colours, I thought, no, I'll just go for it. So this is going to be my background colour. I got an extra pink so that I had enough to do the 2 lots of stripe in the pink, and then I just stuck with 1 of this. So I mean, that's actually a mammoth amount of yarn, really. I've got 6 spools there, or 6 hanks rather. And I'd normally take about 4 to do a jumper or cardigan, so I think I should be fine. Even with the colour changes, I think it should just be fine. If it's not, I'll have to think again, basically. I'll have to... yeah, I'm not quite sure what my backup plan, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be fine, to be honest. So that's my plan for that one. Again, so now I've showed you, I might wind this up and do my swatch. Although I'm very eager to do that as well, and I'm not sure I can manage 2 jumper / cardigan projects on the go at once. It's a bit much, especially when I've got a blanket on the go and my stitching. But I might not be able to resist, so, you know, we'll see. We will see how it goes. Oh, and one more incoming goodie, as if that wasn't enough. But I don't have that many incoming goodies anymore, so it feels like it's fine. This last one is one of those demonstrations of the danger of Instagram scrolling and you know, how we're influenced to buy things. So I was just scrolling through my feed and I saw a gorgeous picture by Amy Loudon, who I think is, what is she now, And Other Knits. She does the dandelion dogwood yarn, and she had a gorgeous picture, I think showing either new yarn or new pattern, but socks anyway. And she had these gorgeous pink needles, and I sort of messaged her and I was like, oh, pink needles? Where did you get pink needles from? They're cute. So she let me know what they were, and I went online to have a look, and I got some. So they're these Lykke, is that how you say it? Lykke, possibly. Needles, anyway. And they come, so I got an interchangeable set, because I thought there's no point just getting a couple of circulars, because I'll always need something other than what I've got. I'm just going to go for it and invest in the set, because I love my wooden needles now, and I used to use metal ones all the time, and now I love wooden ones, so I thought I'm going to go for it. So let's show you them anyway. So it opens out like this. It's got a little zip pocket on the back, which I don't think has anything in. No, that's just for you to fill as you like. And then you've got the needles sat here in this glorious pink colour. I think there are 2 choices for this outside. I went for the denim one. I think you could get it in basket weave as well. And it's quite nice for these sort of plasticky sort of cases they enclose. It's not a bad one at all. And then you've got your pouch down here, which has got all your cables in, glorious pink cables as well. And the stoppers, which unfortunately are in black. I thought they missed a trick there. Why can't they be pink as well? So that was a shame. And you know, your usual little connectors and tighteners and so on. I've actually had set out. I just did my little sample on these noodles. Oh, they are so cute. I've got a gorgeous brown set that I really love, and yeah, these just screamed I must have some. So I got some. So yeah, so that's your little pouch to keep all your cables in there, which I can't close. There we go. And then it's also got this little Velcro bit up here. So this comes away like that, and it's got two Velcro bits here. So I assume it's so you can put that, if you Velcro to that bit it stays flat, so you can wrap it up and put them away. And then if you Velcro it to this bit, it kind of sits up proud like that, so that you can get your needles in and out with ease. I guess that's the idea. Also quite good for when the shops take their photos, it displays them quite nicely. Maybe that's the point. I don't know why they've bothered to sort of include that really, but maybe you could be sitting there knitting and you need to change all the time. I find normally you put the size on and then you kind of put it away for a few weeks while you knit everything you need to knit on that size. But you know, if you're swapping back and forth, maybe that could be handy. But yeah, anyway, I'm really pleased with them. I love them. I probably will make a different case for them at some point, because although these, like I say, for one of these cases that you get included, is actually pretty good. And it's pretty useful. This pocket expands out, so it's excellent really. But you can get it in a much more compact space, and I normally like to sort of put my roll of needles in my project bag, so I've got them with me. And it's much easier to do that if you haven't got this great big thing, so I'll probably just make my own little case to put them in at some point. So that's my other incoming goodie. So thank you very much for Amy for sharing which needles you had and helping me splurge on them. And yeah, not sponsored or anything. I just, like I said, I just stumbled across her post and liked them. Well, I think that is everything I have to show you for today then. I'm going to go and get some lunch actually, because I'm quite hungry. Right, I will leave it there. I hope you get some lovely, glorious, calm and peaceful crafting moments until I see you next time. Until then, bye! I don't know if you can hear that, but I've got Bert sitting at my feet, licking my foot here. Is that good, is it? Is that tasty? Yeah. Daisy dog. He's a Daisy boy, aren't you?